Hello, Canada Files viewers. This is Aidan, Jonah, editor-in-chief of the Canada Files. I am here speaking with Glenn Michalchuk, the national president of the Association of United Ukrainian Canadians. Glenn, thanks for taking the time to speak with the Canada Files.
Thank you for the opportunity.
So, Glenn, I was talking with some activist folks, and some news came my way, of course, which is that you had the opportunity to meet with NDP MP Heather McPherson while you were in Ottawa. So, very quickly, could you just explain to folks why you were in Ottawa in the first place?
Well, I was in Ottawa at the invitation of the Ottawa branch of the AUUC and the Ottawa Peace Council to talk about the war in Ukraine, and particularly about why the AUUC position has been what it is on the question of the war, which is that we've always urged for de-escalation of the conflict and peace negotiations to end the war. So that was the purpose of the meeting, to explain our position and some background to the war as we see it.
Yes, so I was, as Canada Fellows viewers would probably be aware, I was able to actually attend the event in Ottawa, which was a great one. It was a good event to see. So, what the reason why was looking to talk with you is, of course, that you had the opportunity to meet with NDP MP Heather McPherson. So, how did that opportunity come about?
Well, that opportunity came about because of my visit to Ottawa. And of course, the NDP, Heather McPherson, is their critic on foreign affairs. And I wanted the opportunity to speak to her about the question of Ukraine and the NDP's position on Ukraine, and in particular, whether or not the NDP would be advancing the issue of ending the war through peace negotiations, through diplomatic efforts, rather than the kind of efforts that we've seen to date by the Canadian government, which is to actually go the opposite direction, which is to not favor any type of negotiations, but to continue escalation of the war.
So, how, what sense, did you get with the McPherson when you talked with her? Was it something where she did this grudgingly, or was she genuinely interested in dialogue?
Well, the MPs meet with the people who come from various parts of Canada, and she being the foreign affairs critic, I think she was um, somewhat obliged to meet to discuss this question. But I was disappointed in the tone of the discussion, in the sense that she did not see any change in the NDP's position. And I noted for her that of the two statements that I could see about the war that the NDP had made, neither one of them talked about de-escalation of the conflict, finding solutions to the conflict. That's what peace negotiations would ultimately be on this difficult issue, is finding solutions to the conflict. Even though there's a concerted effort worldwide by various countries to push forward a resolution and discussion about the issues for resolution in the conflict. So, but no, she was entirely unreceptive to that idea.
Yes, and so now you had you made any asks of McPherson, and how did she respond to them?
Well, I asked if she would be conveying, the message that I was bringing. It was, like all these meetings are, they tend to be short interviews or meetings, based on the MP's time. I asked her if she would be conveying the opinions that I had brought about the war, why it was necessary to end it, the amount of environmental and human destruction it's caused for Ukraine. I was asking her if she would bring these, what I had said and presented to her, to the NDP caucus in her role as foreign affairs critic. And she said no. So, and I asked if it would ever be possible to actually address caucus, and she said no. So I found that quite surprising, given that at least that she wouldn't present to caucus that she had a meeting with the national president of the AUC and that we presented various issues with respect to the conflict and ending it.
So, speaking of the NDP, what do you what engagement have you seen from the NDP, with the Ukrainian Canadian Congress versus the Association of United Ukrainian Canadians? Because I'll say from covering things, your organization has been very principled on things, but also has defended the USSR, and whereas the Ukrainian Canadian Congress, obviously, look, they do honor they honor Nazis. They've honored the 14th SS Waffen Division repeatedly. So, have you seen a lot of NDP engagement with the UCC, and if so, how much of a concern is that to you?
Well, the only engagement I'm aware of is the continuous lobbying that the UCC does of MP parliamentarians through, obviously, daily or in whatever frequency they do it on their issues, their meetings in front of committees, and in the fact that they seem to have some influence with this parliamentary committee of MPs on the question of Ukraine. So this kind of lobbying is one of the things that has slanted the view on the war. Of course, the UCC has been a supporter of the war, a supporter of escalation, a supporter of providing weapons, and has not spoken about de-escalation of the conflict and diplomacy and of ending the conflict. So this kind of constant lobbying, we know, happens to MPs, members of parliament, and it obviously skews their views and positions on Ukraine and what is the best course of action in Ukraine at this time.
Campbell was speaking with Glenn Michalchuk, National President of the AUUC. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.